Everyone. All right, let's spend 10 minutes getting ourselves situated in Adobe InDesign. So InDesign, not gonna lie, it's probably one of my favorite Adobe programs. I don't use it as much these days as I used to. I tend to be in Photoshop and especially Illustrator more these days, but it is still one of my favorite programs. So with that being said, here we are on the home screen. And let's make a new document and get started from there. But even before we do that, I am going to show you my favorite trick, my favorite tip for Adobe InDesign. Go up before you've created anything, before you have anything open, go to InDesign up in the top tab and go to Preferences and go down to Units and Increments. Change your ruler units from points to inches for both the horizontal and the vertical and hit OK. This is going to save you from having to change it in every single document. All right, after you've done that, now let's create a new document. So the same as the other Adobe programs, you'll see that you have a couple of different options here. You have print, you have web, and you have mobile. I tend to be using the print options the most. So you can use your default of an 8.5 by 11. There's some customs here, which you might not have. These are customs because I tend to use them a lot. Now, let's say that we want to have a 4-page document and we want pages 2 and 3 to be facing pages. We would leave the Facing Pages tab clicked. Let's say, and we'll just make this 11 by 8.5. Change it from portrait to landscape. Let's also give this a bleed so we can go over some of those options. A default bleed is actually 0.125, and you'll notice that this is locked. So you can just tab into the next box and it fills it in for you. And then we'll hit create. All right, so there's a couple of different things that I want to point out. If you are only in Essentials, your workspace, you may want to change it to Essentials Classic. You're going to get way more options on the page. Let me just fix my Essentials Classic a little bit, make it a little neater. I just find that it keeps everything that I need, you know, where I need it, basically. All right. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to point out, and I'm going to zoom in before we even get into the tool panel. You'll notice that we have this red box that goes around our whole document. These are our bleed lines. This is where anything that we want to extend off of the page needs to extend to. So that way when it goes to a printer and we want it to go right to the edge, the image or the color, and be cut at this cut line right here, we need to extend it to this bleed line, okay? This is our inside margin. Any information that we want to make sure, no matter what, does not end up too close to the edge. That would be your text, your logos, specific pictures. You want to keep those inside of your margin because right here is your cut line. And things, when they go to printers, they tend to shift around. So make sure that you have things in the right place where it needs to be. All right. In InDesign, just like your other Adobe programs, you have your toolbar to the left and you have a toolbar up at the top if you are in Essentials Classic. And I find that this is the easiest way to work. Like I've said, I always push the Essentials Classic. So we have our selection tool. We have our direct selection tool, just like in Illustrator. We have some other tools that I never seem to use. We have our type tool, which we will be using a lot, a line tool, pen tool. Then we have two different types of rectangles here. We have a rectangle frame tool and a regular rectangle tool. The one with the X inside, the rectangle frame tool, this is the tool that you would use to place images into. Okay, so I am going to draw, actually, I'm going to draw an image that I want to bleed off of the page. So I've used my rectangle frame tool. I've drawn my box. Next, I'm going to go up to File, Place, and I'm going to place an image right into that box. So let me just grab one real quick. And you can see that that image is way bigger than I need it to be. That's going to happen. So I am going to go down to Object, Fitting, and I want to fit the content proportionally, and that'll shrink it up into the box for me. Now I have two different options. I can, kind of crop this by using the black arrow tool. And what if I just want to crop to just this boat? I can do that. And then I can crop right into here, and I can crop right into here. And then I can try to expand this back down to my bleed. So again, a couple of different ways you can do things in InDesign. So I'm holding down Shift and either Command or Control, whether you're on a PC or a Mac. I'm just going to expand this box. And see? Expands it proportionally right down. And then let's say I want to crop it up, maybe just get rid of the logo. And then I can put things down here on this side of the page. Now this image is going to bleed, and I can check this out to see what the bleed is going to look like. Down in my toolbar, right at the bottom, there's an option that says normal. I can change it to preview, and it shows it cropped, see, with the bleed gone. Go back to normal. But what if I want to make sure that my text now is, in my margin. Couple of things about the text tool in InDesign. In Illustrator or Photoshop, you could just click on the screen and start typing, but you'll notice nothing is happening when I do that. I have to physically click and drag to draw a text box on the screen in InDesign. There we go. Now over here, I have my layers panel and my links. Links are the images that you have imported into InDesign. And unlike Photoshop and unlike Illustrator, links can go missing because they're not actually really in the file, basically. So you want to make sure that nothing shows up missing. And if it is, you need to re-link it. Also, you can put a stroke on an image if you want by going to the stroke. You can change your color of, different boxes. So let's say that I want to just draw a rectangle and change the color. I can go to the color tool and select a color. Oops, just like that. Or I can use my swatches and select a color. Just like that. So the swatches look a little bit different in InDesign than they did in the other programs. But again, you can go in and you can, really change things up the same way that you would in Illustrator, the same way that you would in Photoshop. So let's take a look at a couple of other things on the page. If I want to change my text that I've typed in, I can go to the character panel, and with my text selected, you have to click and select it. I can change the fonts. I can change the font size. There we go. Make that a nice headline. Then when I am done with everything that I'm doing, what I need to do, and this is really important, is you need to package your document. So that puts all of the fonts that you've used and all of the images you've used together. So I'm going to go to File, Package, see if anything is missing. One uses an RGB color space. That is okay. And then I am going to click the package, click Save. It has to be saved first. And I'm just going to put this quickly in my downloads. And then I'm going to make a demo folder, select my PDF preset to go along with it. I want to make sure that I have my preset, which I have created, that has marks and bleeds, and I'm going to hit package and hit OK. And then we can go in. Here's our folder. Inside of that folder, we have all of our files. We have our links, which is the image. So we can send that off to a printer and it will be all set. I hope that you found this video very helpful.